Welcome to another weekly edition of the Best Way to Smoke News with Serpo Jr.
and Big J.
And stepping right on into it. Cannabis set to stay on World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list. The World Anti-Doping Agency appears set to keep cannabis on its list of prohibited substances for 2023, despite friction over American sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson's suspension last year, according to people who have seen a draft copy of the list. The decision, which is likely to be finalized at a meeting later this month, means athletes will be subject to a WADA's drug testing code, will continue to be subject to suspension if they test positive for any cannabis consumption. And it also highlights tension over a drug that is increasingly used legally for medical and recreational purposes in some countries, and whose effect on athletes' performance are disputed. So what they saying is like they trying to say on one end that any type of cannabis usage, it enhances whatever sport you in, whether you in basketball, in this instance, track and field.
Right.
So if you hit a blunt before you go out there and track and field, it's like you up there with Usain Bolt and Sha'Carri Richardson and all that.
Right.
Is what they trying to say. But some other agencies think different.
Right. Like they trying to say like it's steroids and that kind of form of shit that enhance your abilities.
Pretty much.
Man, it's crazy. Moving on. Black market weed is still the buyer's choice over legal marijuana in Hawaii. A new state report estimates only about 20% of the marijuana sold in Hawaii last year came from local marijuana dispensaries and blame market structure and regulation for driving consumers to buy from illegal growers and sellers. The report by the tax working group of the Dual Use of Cannabis Task Force estimates that the exiting marijuana market in Hawaii is worth about $240 million a year, and a mature market could grow to about $354 million annually. And recreational marijuana is legalized. Sorry about that. Considered the state tax collection are now running at about $8 billion a year. The report notes that the potential revenue for state government is relatively modest in comparison with the overall state economy and tax collections. And Hawaii is high, though, like the taxes and buying shit, all that is high. So you imagine that the weed is probably high. The report also warns that the aggressively taxing legal marijuana producers early on may jeopardize the entire industry by encouraging consumers to continue buying cheaper products on what is described as the gray market. So basically, it's like everything is high, the taxes is high, so everybody is, a lot of people is going to buy from people that they know is growing.
The gray market.
The gray market. Moving on.
Cannabis is facing an infiltratory buzzkill. Most survey respondents say they are prepared to buy less if inflation persists. I mean, like the prices of bud is
going up.
While inflation took more time to come for alcohol and cannabis products, it is slowly creeping in. 1 in every 4 retailers across the country recently said they either raised or plan to raise weed prices by more than 10% by 10% in the next year. That is still well below many foods that people consume every day. Recent members from the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported prices spikes of 47% for eggs and 26% for butter, but it's still enough to make some seriously rethink how often they buy. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you're going inside of these stores, you know what I'm saying, as far as like our stores, these medical shops, whether it's medical or recreational.
Right.
You may feeling cool with some of the prices that's there now, but as they go up, it's like they got you thinking as, you know what I'm saying, should I use my tummy, put something in my belly,
right,
or should I go and buy this bud? Because it's like the taxes are, they starting to weigh out.
Right.
You know, so, and some people are already like, man, I'm finna buy less if y'all, if $25 eighth is $35 next week, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
a little bit
In
less.
some places, 50. Moving on. So look, we got another rapper that was killed. PNB Rock shot and killed during robbery at Los Angeles restaurant. So he went to Roscoe's, blinged up, dripped up, in a Maybach. He made himself a target. It was a lot of little different things going on with him. You know what I mean? But it's just sad to see another rapper get killed.
Man, it's crazy. And it's like out in LA, like we was talking earlier, it's like, man, if you actually from out here, you done been around here, you done grew up, like all across LA,
Yeah.
West LA, East LA, South Central, Compton, Watts, whichever like
Yeah.
part you come from. If you don't want to be a target by certain people that's out there because it's a concrete jungle. You know what I'm saying? You're not finna go out there all flashy and boastful.
Yeah.
Like you bigger than Superman or something.
Yeah, you want to kind of stay low key. And I read a quote from Ice-T, and he was saying like if you look at a lot of the LA rappers, don't be blinged out. You got a lot of these younger cats that be kind of blinged out and shit though. But if you look at the scope of how it's been, like from Ice Cube, Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, E40, a lot of these rappers don't be blinged up like that all the time. They got the shit though, but it's They know how to move out here though.
Yeah, they're using the brain. They're using their brain a little bit.
Yep.
On to the next. Now, this one was kind of like crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
U.S. soldier kicked out of Army after FBI says he enlisted to become better at killing black people. Now, This is being enlisted into the Army. A former soldier who prosecutors say claimed he enlisted to become better at killing black people was kicked out of the Army following an FBI investigation that uncovered ties to white supremacist organizations and Nazi ideology.
Yeah.
So these we already know coming from like those names, not to get too deep into it, we already know what the agenda is.
Yeah.
Killian M. Ryan was arrested August 26th and charged with one count of knowingly making a false statement on his application for a secret society clearance, according to court records. On the same day, he was discharged from the Army for serious misconduct, said Colonel Terrence Kelly, an Army spokesman. Prosecutors say Ryan operated social media accounts where he was in contact with extremists, including where he made the shocking claim about why he decided to join the military.
Right.
Now, it's kind of crazy because it's if you have this type of personnel, this is just somebody who got caught.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine the ones who actually got through with this type of like train of thought. So you go through, you get the training, this, that, and the other. Now you come out, you FBI agents, you know what I'm saying? You local sheriff department, local PD.
Yep.
And then it's like you have this thought, you come out there, you see black people, it's like, man, this is what I was trained to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not putting it on the Army or whatever it may be. I don't think they train you to exactly do that.
Right.
But if you're going in with that mind frame, this is what I'm thinking, this is this, you're going to think this is what you're being trained for, and you finna come home up out of that to be a local PD or sheriff or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, in your mind, this is what we trained for.
And like they said, he was discharged, so he was in the service.
Mhm.
So he made it in there. So for him to even get that far and them to find out when he's already, actively serving and shit like that, though, that's, kind of a flaw on them.
Mm-hmm.
They should do more of a thorough check, and they should have been able to find this out before he even got that far, though, in my opinion.
Especially beforehand. But they catching it now. I don't know if that's going to be like a continuing like thing with the Army, Navy, all of those little facilities are, but if they do catch this and they not trying to teach that, cool. But if you just trying to like put this out there to like ease certain tension or to make people think you're protecting or something like that, it's like, man, thorough checks need to be made. That was the Wiki News with Surfo Jr.
Big J.